What's going on, world? What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Creative Perceptions, where your dreams meet your reality. My name is Zackery Rogers. I am still your host. I don't think you can get fired from your own show. I mean, granted, Steve Jobs did get fired from Apple, but that's neither here nor there. You know, stocks got involved, him selling his own stocks, things of that nature. So I'm excited to talk to you for today. It's kind of been on my heart lately. You know, normally Creative Perceptions, we're interviewing Black and brown owned businesses, inspiration, encouragement, whether it's books, authors, own business, artists, you name it. I'm still for that. That is still part of the mission. However, I kind of want to go back to the playground as far as tapping back into the sports world. I haven't done it in a while. We kind of talked about it in Airball, which is still available for streaming on YouTube because, you know, we haven't got to the Apple or Spotify just yet, but we getting there. But in all seriousness, though, there was a point in time where I was writing sports at a very high prolific route, and I kind of stopped because I was kind of like my focus, and I felt like there's more to sports. I don't want my sports just to be the only thing I know how to do, which is not. So I kind of wanted to tap into that. I kind of had got a vision from God to do certain things with the, you know, spotlighting entrepreneurs, artists, people with different thought processes, like the whole nine, right? But you know, for today, we're gonna tap back into the sports world. So for the first section, we're gonna go. Let's talk. Let's talk around the league, around the sports. My first subject, you know, got to get the WNBA out the way. I covered the WNBA right for Fansided. Shout out to Fansided. So we have a few teams. A majority punched their tickets, so the semifinals are set to start at the end of this weekend. So I'm excited for that. The Aces, they were able to get out of the first round against the Chicago Sky with pretty much ease. And then the Atlanta Dream got eliminated by the Dallas Wings. So now we're going to have another matchup. It's going to be interesting because you're going to see, you know, everybody doesn't really expect Dallas to give them a run for their money. But when you look at Arike Agumbawale, when you look at Satui Sabali, when you look at their makeup of who they have on that roster, it's going to be a physical series, and I'm excited for that. The Aces have been the slated favorite to win, even with Candace Parker going out with her fractured foot. So that's going to be an interesting series to kind of dive into. Again, Aces are kind of, the meters going towards the Aces, just because of the chemistry, the intensity that they're playing with, they're gelling. They probably are one of the teams that avoided the injury bug the most, with the exception of Candace Parker. But if you go back to last year, they are missing Dearica Hamby, and kind of Candace Parker kind of took that, elevated that role. But the team is just gelling just fine, and they've been able to, their role players have definitely joined, contributed significantly, especially from the bench. Another matchup, you know, I'm going to regret this because the game comes on later tonight, but I felt like I had to get this podcast out the way. New York Liberty, they beat my Mystics in overtime. Natasha Cloud goes bonkers, drops 33, playing defense on Sabrina Ionescu, who missed the last 2 free throws before the end of the game, but we're not going to get on that. But, you know, it's a team game. Jonquel Jones came in, knocked down her free throws, drew the foul, but it was an intense game. Unfortunately, the Mystics kind of suffer from the turnover bug, but I think they'll be back next year. Mystics weren't healthy this year. Christy Tolliver goes down with the ACL tear, and she was struggling with injury before that. Shakira Austin aggravated her hip. You had Natasha Cloud in and out the lineup. Elena Deladon was probably more healthy than she's been in the last few years, but the team, Ariel Atkins ankle. So you kind of had the key major cogs in and out of the lineup, but I think the Mystics will be back next year. However, unfortunately, no, not unfortunately, it's going to be good basketball. New York Liberty is going to go, so we could be on the path to a Las Vegas Aces New York Liberty matchup, which would be Christmas. You know, I want the WNBA to go do game 7s, but they're still trying to get the expansion thing going on. Kathy Engelbert, come on, you know, let's get this expansion going. Philadelphia, just saying, they can share the stadium with the Sixers. Not going to say Miami because it's basketball in Miami. It's a football town, so that's going to be kind of weird. And then I don't see the mayor or governor kicking out funds for the WNBA, unfortunately, because the Heat aren't really doing that great outside of the postseason. So as far as attracting a crowd, so I just don't think basketball is for Miami. But I'm thinking definitely the Sixers. I'm thinking Canada. I think you can get some expansion in Canada. Maybe looking into another Los Angeles team, maybe going back to Detroit, but I don't know. The Pistons are doing kind of bad right now. But you have the legacy of the Detroit, you have Detroit Shock and things of that nature. Also you have to consider going back to Houston. You have one of the very few teams that have repeated multiple times. Like, anyway, getting off topic. So a potential matchup for the semifinals could be New York Liberty. They're going to get the winner of Connecticut Sun, Minnesota Lynx, which I think the Minnesota Lynx are about to shock the world. Well, it's not really a shocker. Cheryl Reeve, when you have her as the coach and you have a plethora of bench, they haven't even played Aerial Powers yet. Like Nafisa Collier, Kayla McBride, like that's a dangerous team. They just, we'll see how that goes. But Connecticut, Alyssa Thomas, Dewana Bonner, you both teams have a lot of like firepower, so we're interested to see about that. But WNBA, definitely more viewers this year, more engagement, more record sales and merchandise. I love it. This myth that the WNBA doesn't sell, we need to go ahead and throw that in the garbage. The WNBA sells. It's just the uppers that be don't want to promote it. Neither here nor there, but you can't block greatness. The WNBA is here to stay. It's going to continue to grow. It's been here since '97. It's not going anywhere. Hopefully these expansions can start to kick off. Kathy, come on, please. Okay. So we're moving on. NBA headlines. I'm really going to skip over NBA. It's like close, not still, we're still ways away from the season. But the one thing that stands out, obviously everybody's talking about the Dame Lillard trade. Let's just be real. If a trade is going to happen, it's going to happen. Portland is salty. They're about to lose pretty much the last piece that makes them relevant outside of Chauncey Billups coaching the team. I do understand their preference and how they want to milk and get everything out of it, but the older Dame gets, the less you're going to get in return for it. I'm sure they'll find a deal, but just take Tyler Hero or include a third team. I'm hearing Charlotte, LaMelo, and Tyler Hero. That'd be pretty nasty, but that's still an 8th round, 7th round playoff seed. Neither here nor there. James Harden, he'll definitely be in a Sixers uniform. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out. When I'm looking at all the lineups, this is LeBron James last year to possibly win a title. He's in shape, things of that nature. But when you look at all the signings, Rui Hachimura, you have him for a few years. D'Angelo Russell, you signed him on a 1 year, even though he played really good. He did disappear in the playoffs. But Austin Reeves, you have a good formula. But LeBron James is getting older, and the one thing, even though they had a lot of signings, I think this is the most that they've signed where LeBron doesn't have to necessarily carry the scoring load. It has to be AD. If AD can stay healthy, big if, they'll be fine. But so I'm interested for those are the two lineups, Dame Lillard and the Lakers. I don't foresee Denver repeating. I think that was that was just their year. You lost Bruce Brown to the Indiana Pacers. People laugh, but that is a huge loss. When you look at the coach of the victory parade, he's like, "We're running it back," and then he signs his contract like 2 days later. So it's part of the business. Those are the 3 things that I would look out for. I am interested to see how much the Charlotte Hornets progress after the selling of the franchise by Michael Jordan. I wish he wouldn't have sold it. That was the one black owner we had. But figure that out. So moving on, tennis. Got to shout out Coco Gauff. Amazing U.S. Open final. Wins her first Grand Slam. Going professional, she's won her first title. She went professional at the age of 15, and she's the first and the youngest person to get there since, I want to say, Serena. So that's huge. Shout out to Coco Gauff. I loved her. Wrap up interview. Ultimate sport, ultimate competitor. It was just an amazing. I hadn't watched the U.S. Open in a long time, but that was an amazing and phenomenal game, and I'm pretty sure she's going to continue to stack up the awards. Dion Primetime, Coach Primetime. Of anybody, I was one of those people that stayed up until, what was it, 2 a.m. when Colorado played Colorado State. The whole conversation between the coaches and the glasses and all that. The one thing I will say, something told me not to turn off the TV because I was mad. I was like, Dion, what are we doing? What are we doing? Not blaming him, but like I was like, come on, we can't lose, because like a lot of commentary, if they would have lost, people would have stopped engaging as heavy. I still think people would have watched because you already surpassed your win record from 1-11 last year, and you at that point you would have been 2-1. Yeah, you lost to Colorado State, but it is a rivalry. So I'm not I'm not buying too much stock into that, but I am happy for Dion. He's more than a coach. He's a coach of men. Like, he's really teaching these young men how to be better and adults. And like, let's be real, he's identified the people that are gonna play in the league, and he's identified the people that aren't. And he's given them an alternate way to secure the bag, one, have a career path, something to take care of your family, to start a family. Like, he's giving you the survival kit of life. So shout out to Dion. I am interested to see what they do against Oregon this Saturday, I believe at 3:30. He's playing with house money. I'm a terrible gambler, but I just wanted to say that euphemism. But I think he'll be okay. If you lose, okay, it's Oregon. If you win, the show goes on. But I think this will be an ultimate test. Obviously, what we've seen so far this season, defensive line could get bigger, but he's already identified he needs 6 to 8 more dogs before he goes to the next step. But I'm just loving what he's doing. Just embrace and just be a part of the ride. I know there was a lot of debacle about whether he should have left Jackson State. He did the HBCUs dirty. No, he didn't. He put us on a. I'm a graduate, as you can tell. You know, I'm always repping, just saying. But HBCU grad, and I do not feel any type of way. Did it sting? Yes, but it was going to happen at some point in time. But the fact of the matter is, he brought more awareness on HBCUs. He's now going to he's opened the coaching pool for other Power Fives, NFL teams to look at coaches at HBCUs. And then also, he's given them the blueprint to become more competitive. When you look at the FAMUs, when you look at the Alcorns, even though they, when you look at Alabama A&M, the SWAC, when you look at the MEAC, when you look at Morgan's, like, a lot of the coaches are now starting to try to find a quarterback that can spin the ball, throw it. So he left a blueprint. He's elevated us in the Black and brown community. So we're moving on. Now the Orioles, I spent almost a decade and some change in Baltimore. Love the city, love Charm City. They've made the playoffs for the postseason for the first time since 2016. The last time they won was in 2014. So the fact that not Ravens, I'm not even gonna talk about them, but shout out to Lamar. But the fact that the point that the Orioles were a few years ago, or over the past few years, have been trading away all their assets, losing free agents, and now they are in the postseason speaks volumes. Shout out to the Orioles. They have an amazing outfield. It's gonna be a good playoff run. Now, I feel bad for the market when it comes to running back. When you look at Nick Chubbs, who pretty much tore his knee, and when you look at Saquon Barkley, who got hurt again, I look at a Daniel Jones who just got a massive deal, and their offense has been struggling. Did they come back last week? Absolutely. But you really have to take into consideration the running back is not being protected. So you really have to look at it. Like Derrick Henry's, yes, he got a max contract, but the value is going to continue to go up because you still need running backs who can block. You still need running backs who can run the ball. You need running backs who can flare out, catch the screen. The Vikings, I say I'm a little embarrassed right now. Damn it, Kirk. But the Vikings, we just traded for Cam Akers today. Like, the running backs are still needed. I'm not saying every running back should get a max deal, but the player span for a running back is much lower than quarterback, receiver, offensive line, you name it. I'm not saying all of them get a max or guaranteed, but we gotta do something. Come on, y'all. Now, the one thing that has stood out to me, a few interesting key topics for sports right now for me have been the NFL, as far as the Jets, right? Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles first game. Don't wish that on anybody. I've read some articles where he's trying to get this surgery out of the country that apparently heals the Achilles. He's looking at January. Hopefully that was not a real blog or a situation. But just rest, Aaron. Just come back next year stronger than ever. But Zach Wilson, he's not the greatest quarterback. I feel like you can see where Aaron Rodgers has mentored him and where he's improved, but it's still the same makeup or residue from last year. The Jets, I'm sorry, he might be for now. I didn't play at a high level in football. I played in high school and I was not that great, but I know the game. I know, at least he don't got it right now. I think he needs more development. I think he needed a year under Aaron Rodgers, like watching him play and practicing. And I think, you can see the improvement, but Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, there's only going to be so much mentorship and interaction at that point. Obviously, the minute that it happened, you start seeing reporters like Josina Hayward, You start looking at Adam Schefter, Greeny. I know he's sad about it. You hear the Ryan Clarks, the Rex Ryans, everybody's talking about what's next. And then there being an instant list of free agents that talked about Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Colin Kaepernick. There were a few more on the list. And one of the things was Colin Kaepernick's camp had already reached out. It is what it is. He's been blackballed from the league. And at first that was he brings too much antics or it's too much of a distraction. Now he hasn't played 7 years and you really can't argue that. So it's like, I don't see. And then Josina Anderson reported that the Jets are not interested. You want to see Kaepernick play. He probably should have tried the XFL or the Canadian League for at least a year or two. That way you're still playing and they can't use he hasn't played in 7 years. But you were playing in the NFL at a high level with the exception of the last season. And you can still play, but unfortunately they're not going to give him the benefit of the doubt for that. But I think Cam Newton's a viable option that you have to look at. I think you also have to look at Matt Ryan. You can look at. There's certain quarterbacks where you're just like, maybe, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that Jets, as a Vikings fan, we will give you Kirk Cousins. He's in the last year of his deal. We're not extending him. When an owner says, "Oh, we'll evaluate at the end of the year," that means you're gone. Like, pack up your stuff, and we're already 0-2. Let's just go ahead after week 3. We lose to the Chargers. Let's just go ahead and part ways and trade Kirk Cousins. I know my little brother's gonna laugh at this, ha ha he. But I love Kirk Cousins. I love him, like what he brings as a human being. I love watching QB and seeing his perspective of life. But unfortunately, I think the window sailed with Kirk Cousins, and then you can see it in QB interaction. It's not a ruffle between the coaches, but he's not his original guy. So I think it might be a time to move on. Some headlines to really think about. Eric Bieniemy. He wasn't getting any love, any head coaching opportunities, interviews. The Washington Commanders are 2-0. And dare I say it, they look like a playoff caliber team. Normally, you'll see a team doing good. It's not like the Dallas Cowboys, like where they do good every year and they're going to choke for whatever reason. Like the Washington Commanders look legit. I don't know if it's because of Josh Harris, the new ownership, Magic Johnson. You could just tell the culture is different. Eric Bieniemy is bringing a fresh offensive perspective. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm not rooting for him or anything like that. We talked about the Jets. And then one other thing that you want to look at, there are a slew of undefeated teams. Obviously, we go through this every year, but some teams, something to consider about. Miami, Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill are getting off, bro. And the run game is phenomenal with Morstead. Baltimore, they finally gave Lamar some weapons. I'm tired of hearing he's a running back or like that's extremely disrespectful. He won the Heisman and he had a amazing stat line for passing. I don't remember off the top of my head. Lamar is sitting here throwing dimes to Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham. Like he is going off. Like this is the year where he's going to he's already proved it to me because you have more playoff wins than other quarterbacks that are supposed to be these elite passers. No shade. But Lamar, this is going to be his year. Another MVP candidate race. Patrick Mahomes is obviously going to be at the forefront. Dallas. They look great. I'm not sold though. I have to postseason. I have to see the rest of how the NFC East boils when you start playing competition within the conference at a consistent rate. Dak looks good though. Mike McCarthy taking over coaching reins. You do see the difference between before Kellen left. I'm just gonna put an asterisk next to the Cowboys right now. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Eagles. This is the second time they smoked us last year. We got smoked again. But the Eagles love Jalen Hurts. It's hard to say something bad about Jalen Hurts. He is the example that people need in life. Like he's one of those people after he retires, which is years down the line, that is somebody that you need to look up to. Like Eagles are good. Most of my mom's side of the family, I have to hear the Eagles. EATLE. But the Eagles look good. I'm interested to see what they're going to look like. I do believe in the Super Bowl hangover when you go to the Super Bowl and you lose. I don't think you go back, or I don't think you bounce back until a year or two later, but we'll see. The Washington football team, Washington Commanders, I do apologize. Sorry, the name changes. They look great. Wide receiving core was already strong defensive. You're getting all your defensive weapons back. They look good. San Fran, Brock Purdy, their defense is phenomenal. The receiving core is lightning fast. You got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. It's expected they pick off where they left off. Eagles may not have went to the Super Bowl if Brock Purdy's elbow's not messed up. So woulda, coulda, shoulda, but interested. Nick Bosa getting that phenomenal master contract. Atlanta, they are shocking some people. Great quarterback play, great defense. It's been a buzz in the city. I need to tune in more on their games, but I've definitely been seeing how maybe they shouldn't have. The Marcus Mariota experiment last year wasn't great. Now he's in Philly, but yeah, okay. Saints, Derek Carr. It's really odd not to see Drew Brees or even James Winston. It's very odd to see Derek Carr in a Saints jersey, but that's a good fit for him. I don't predict them continuing to stay undefeated, but we'll see. The last one that I am very shocked at, but I'm extremely happy for this gentleman, is Baker Mayfield, leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a 2-0 start. And he's just confident, but he's low-key. He's not saying a lot. He's not doing a lot. He's just balling and going home. Shout out to them. It's going to be an interesting week. Watch the WNBA playoffs. Connecticut links tonight, 8 o'clock. Okay, obviously I dated the show, but watch that. Then the semifinals will start this week. Giants, 49ers, another game to watch out for. And as we keep saying in Creative Perceptions, chase your dreams and your reality. I had to get back on mine. Check me out at Fansided. Have a great night. Stay inspired, stay prayed up, stay encouraged. Don't give up on your dreams. You only get one life. Live it to the fullest. God bless y'all.